Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy WayFinder Wednesday. This is Dr. Tanya Abouzeide, lead consultant and founder for WayFinder Educational Consulting. Thank you for joining us today. We are here with my guest, Dr. Emmanuela Stanislaus. Today we're going to be talking about first-generation students and career options.
You see that there's a correlation between your internships, having one, how many internships you have, to what your employment outcome will be, right? Like how much you will make, how much you can command making, and how much you make out of undergrad. I know this is going to go on another tangent, but how much you make really sets the stage for your potential income for the rest of your life. So when we try to do these things to steer people a different way so that they can graduate quicker, we're having deeper implications for their life. And a lot of these students are going to college to make a difference, a positive impact in their families' lives, in their, careers and things like that. And so we need to be very careful with that. So I was very vocal with saying, I will never tell a student not to take an internship opportunity because you want them to graduate earlier. That is just not in alignment with who I am, my mission, and what should be best for this first gen student.
Well, and that's a great segue in terms of career options and experiences for students. I mean, the research is clear in terms of, okay, there's, one category of a college experience, which is the content, the curriculum, okay, which is important. You need that. Foundational skills, how to read, how to write, how to do math, okay? These basic skills, and learning about different areas that make you a well-rounded individual to contribute to society, right? But then there's the experiential learning part that is, I think, in some ways even more important than anything else in the college experience, because we know that, most students, the lecture and learn thing is, it's needed in certain capacities and certain roles, but having that hands-on real world experience is in some ways invaluable. And
services in general across higher ed institutions is an optional space. And so I think, in terms of advice for first gen students is making themselves aware of their career services, their university career services operations, or if they're in a community college or state college, there are offices within your institutions that can help you as well. And get to know them. They assist with your major, deciding on your major. They can assist with securing your internship as well as your full-time job afterwards. And I think a lot of times first gen students think that finding the job is after they graduate. There's a lot of things in between that will set you up for, an internship. Like for instance, and I talk to employers all the time, for instance, they're looking for involvement. So you want to make sure that you're involved in student organizations, and they don't have to necessarily be academic in nature, but you can have a mixture. There's like an I Love Smoothie club, right? And you can do that for social, but then if you're, a mechanical engineering major, then maybe you might want to look at the American Society of Mechanical Engineers chapter at your institution. You want to develop an involvement plan. So maybe you're saying year one, I'm just going to be a member. Year two, I'm going to chair a committee within the organization. Year three, I want to be on the e-board, like vice president, secretary, whatever. And then year four, hopefully president, or maybe another role within the e-board. But what that does, it sets the stage for internships, right? Where you're learning key, valuable core competencies that employers are looking for, whether it's teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, communication. These are all things that they're looking for. And that will definitely give you examples so that you can, kind of share your experiences when they're asking, tell me about a time where you had to work with a difficult team member, where you had to lead a team towards a goal that, maybe they didn't buy into, those kinds of things. So definitely critical.
When would you recommend a student to complete an internship, and how often?
Yeah. So I think that students should start looking for internship like fall of their second year, so that they can gain, the opportunity to do an internship at least the summer that's between the sophomore and junior year. And the reason why I say fall is that's when employers are doing their recruiting for summer, especially the coveted ones, like companies that have multiple internships. They are looking specifically in the fall semester to do that. Now, if you're looking for, things that are local, that sort of thing, of course, that can, kind of wait to maybe your spring semester, but fall will be when you want to get your resume looked at, go and do practice interviews so that you can, get the nerves out and know how you want to express your experiences to employers. You may want to attend a career fair that your institution is hosting, and then get to network with those employers, those recruiters, so that they can know who you are. You can learn about all of those experiences, etc.
Awesome. And so what do you say to students who might be, who know that they're going to graduate school at some point, whether if it's law, medical, or just, in another discipline? Would you still recommend doing an internship?
Yeah, I totally would. Even if you know that you're going to grad school, because I think sometimes you may not know what path you want to go in, right? And so it just helps you to get more experience. It helps you to learn more about yourself, helps you to learn more about what you like, what you don't like, helps you to build your network. You were talking about that earlier. You can potentially gain a mentor, even if you don't stay in that field, right? Or you can potentially gain folks who can do introductions to other folks that you may not have met. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And, I see this within, the college student experience, where students are looking for internships, and they'll steer towards, obviously, internships that are paid. What's your take on unpaid internships?
That's a good one as well. I mean, I do not agree with unpaid internships. And I believe I don't know the number off the top of my head, but there's research that shows that first gen students and minoritized students are overrepresented in unpaid internships. And again, I think that has implications for the future, right? And your earning power. And so, I think a lot of companies, organizations have looked to college students for free labor. I'm not really sure how that even came about. That's just not fair. If someone is working and you have a benefit to your company and your organization, you should pay them for what they're bringing on. And so I don't agree with that. And there are Department of Labor has 6 qualifications and things that folks should look at to determine if a position can be unpaid or, unpaid. And I should say internships specifically should be unpaid or paid. And so if organizations are looking at that, they should be looking at that to determine whether or not it's appropriate. But if it's an internship, that doesn't mean that it should be unpaid. And I think it's important that you're having this conversation, because I think students believe that too. They think that internships are unpaid because of things that are put out there. And I think first gen students specifically need to understand that piece, that you should get paid. And because you're bringing, your knowledge. Of course, it's a learning environment. And so you're learning as well, and they're supporting what you're learning in your academic program. But, just to be careful with that, and to, really work with a career coach that can help you to navigate what should be paid, what shouldn't be paid, what's a appropriate pay, that kind of thing.
When we're thinking about like internship opportunities for students, and I think there's this tendency for students to go with like big name brands, big name companies. Can you explain a little bit more of why it would be to a student's advantage to maybe not go the big name internship and career opportunity route?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there are a lot of benefits to that, and I think one of the big ones is that when you're going into like a smaller company, you get the opportunity to have a lot of different experiences. Sometimes when you're going into a larger company, you may feel like you're a number. Right. And they're trying to do things to make you not feel that way. But, you could feel that way if there's like 50, 100, 500, internships. I mean, not, sorry, 500 interns. Whereas if you're in a smaller, company, maybe there's 1 or 2 or 3 of you. So you might be able to get a more well-rounded experience where you can maybe bounce around to different departments. Maybe you're asked to do different things, like higher level things that you may not be able to do if you were working, in a larger, company where you're just doing one thing or one project within a department. You also may be able to have more access to the higher level folks, more so than you would if you were doing something in a larger company. And so that leaves opportunities for mentorship, opportunities for you to gain folks who can write recommendation letters for you if you're looking to go into grad school or other things, maybe scholarship applications. So those are just a couple of things that I can, speak to in terms of like the benefits. And I think too, with that, you'd be able to speak more broadly when you're interviewing for other internships, or maybe full-time positions afterwards. I think too, some students may look at a gradual approach. So maybe you're thinking you want to have 2 internships during your college experience. So then you might say, okay, I want to start smaller with my first internship, and then use that experience to get an internship at a mid-sized company or maybe a larger company. So you can use that to kind of be like a stepping ladder.
I want to switch gears and talk about your podcast, Writing on My Mind. If you can tell us a little bit about your podcast and also about your business.
Yeah, definitely. So, the Writing on My Mind podcast was, kind of inspired from my experience. I struggled and it's very interesting because I've worked in higher education for 17 years and, I thought I knew things, but then, you don't know, like being a student is a different type of experience. And so I did have some challenges. And one of the things that I wanted to do with my consulting business is to help other women of color doc students. And so that's what we do on the Writing on My Mind podcast. We have conversations. I have guests on to talk about their experiences to hopefully help folks avoid roadblocks, that we experienced, learn from our experiences and to level up as doc students.
Thank you. I look forward to having more conversations with you on all of these different topics. But thank you everyone for watching and learning. Any questions that you may have, feel free to contact me or Dr. Emmanuela and we'll get back to you.